Gonna have to start today's show on a little bit of a somber tone as Warriors legend Attles, player, coach, number retired, unfortunately passed away today at the age of 87. Steph put out an Instagram story post shouting him out. He seemed to be very active in the Warriors facilities around the organization as late as this past season. So wanted to give a quick shout out to him and what his contributions to the organization for the better part of 5 decades. Started his career with the Golden State Warriors back in 1960. So pay some respects to our good friend Attles down in the comment section by typing his number, his retired number 16, down below. I want to see a ton of 16s flood in the comment section, and we'll get into today's show. All right, I know. We're doing another video that revolves around Stephen Curry and his future with the Golden State Warriors. Does Stephen Curry want out? He's had some pretty cryptic actions here on the social media sphere that have raised some concerns for Dub Nation and NBA fans alike about his future, his status with the Golden State Warriors up to this point. So if you want to take a look here, this is Stephen Curry's Instagram bio. Or I guess used to be Stephen Curry's Instagram bio. He said believer, father, husband, founder, philanthropist, and guard for the Warriors. And obviously got that Philippians Bible verse there as well. But it doesn't look like that anymore. This is what it looks like now. Believer, father, husband, founder, philanthropist, and Olympic gold medalist. Stephen Curry has removed Warriors, guard for the Warriors, and changed his profile picture as well, forgot to mention that, from his Instagram bio and decided to put in Olympic gold medalist instead. It sounds to me like Stephen Curry takes a lot of pride in his Olympic gold medal, and he should, right? He was a massive part and a massive piece to Team USA taking the gold medal in the 2024 Paris Olympics. I mean, those last 2 games that he had, the 36 in the final game, in the semifinal game against Serbia was absolutely disgusting. He had 60 points over the last 2 games, and I mean the efficiency was through the charts. 65% from the field. I mean 65% damn near from 3. Unbelievable. And Stephen Curry should be reveling in this accomplishment, and I'm glad that he's bringing more attention to the worldwide basketball stage, to the international game, and making that a focal point of where he is at his point in his career. But does this change mean anything for Steph? Does he have newfound ill will towards the Warriors organization? I mean, you could put it that way, but as far as my actual thoughts on this, I'm going to go with no. I mean, athletes do this all the time, right? We've seen it we see it a ton in the NFL. We see it on Twitter with the eye emojis where players, are throwing out cryptic messages and whatnot. But in Steph's case, I don't think it meant anything. I think he was just very happy to be in a situation where he was playing with top talent and they took home the gold, right? I don't think that this means anything for his future. Stephen Curry has not requested a trade. I repeat, Stephen Curry has not requested a trade, but it does beg the question, is he going to think about that scenario down the line as he just played with a ton of top talent and doesn't really seem to have a ton of top talent on his roster as of right now. Here's what he had to say about his NBA future back when he had an interview with Mark J. Spears in the Paris Olympics. He said, "It's tough, right? I've always said I wanted to be a Warrior for life. That's a stance he's maintained his entire career. At this stage of my career, I feel like that's possible. At age 36, I certainly agree. And you can still be competitive. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed the championship. It doesn't mean winning. Winning is always a priority, but obviously you're realistic. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen if you stay the course, though. You need to shake things up and keep reimagining what it looks like to evolve with what the league is at right now, with where some of those talented teams are now. I want to win. Let's put it this way. It's a long-winded way of saying that if it is a situation where you're a bottom feeder and it's just because you want to stay there, I'd have a hard time with that, but I don't think that's going to become the reality." Listen, Steph doesn't want to bottom out. Why would he? He's still playing at an elite top 5 level in the NBA right now. There's no reason that Steph should want to ride off into the sunset on a bottom-feeding Western Conference team like a Dirk Nowitzki, like a Kobe Bryant. With those 2 players, you could see clear physical decline. You could see clear production decline in the later stages of their career. Stephen Curry is not that same regard. He's still putting up 27 a night and leading this team, carrying them to wins, being one of the clutchest players in the entire NBA. Obviously, he doesn't want to bottom out because he's still playing at a championship level, just that they really don't have the roster that's championship level at this point. But it's interesting to me because according to Anthony Slater, my number one insider for the Golden State Warriors, if I'm trusting anybody, I'm trusting Slater. He says that Steph has not shown or expressed any panic or unrest with the current state of the Warriors roster. We're going to talk about the Warriors roster and how it seems to be shaping up around Steph Curry in the back half of today's show, but Steph hasn't expressed any panic or unrest. Are you? Are you panicking with the state of Golden State's roster right now? Let me know down in the comments by typing a Y for yes or N for no. I'm trying to hear from Dub Nation on what they think of this Golden State roster. All right, we're going to get into what I think about that in just a moment. But before we do, like I said, Steph balled out at the Olympics, and you can get swagged out with the official merch from Team USA. The caricatures are all there. Steph's front and center next to LeBron. And you can get it right here today at chatsports.com/Team USA. I'm going to put that link in the comments and description to make it easier for you guys. Go get yourself some Team USA merch right now. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Steph's not going to play in the Olympics again, so go get your Team USA merch right now, chatsports.com/Team USA. So here's the expanded quote from Anthony Slater here. He says, Curry hasn't, according to team sources, expressed any signs of panic or unrest. But here's the important part. But there's a choice of action or inaction in the coming months that'll give a clearer hint about his long-term mindset. And that's very, very interesting, because what could happen with this Golden State roster and the front office is that there is inaction. They didn't make the trade for Lauri Markkanen. They didn't make the trade for Paul George. Now, Mike Dunleavy keeps Stephen Curry in the loop for those sort of things, but they never made any of those two moves, and they're not any closer to winning a championship now than they were back in May. So what's the holdup here? Where are they getting a second star? And is there a second star on the roster currently? I don't really think so. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, yeah, he had a leap last year. He upped himself in the scoring department up to 16 points a night, was nearly 19 points a night for the second half of the NBA season last year, but hasn't really shown that ability to create off the dribble yet, go get his own jumper whenever, he's not really a bucket getter yet. He's a straight line, drive down the hill offensive player who's a highlight guy and, has a ton of flashy dunks, really efficient around the rim. Brandon Podziemski hasn't really, he was his rookie year last year, right? You're going to ask a rookie to come in here and be this number 2 scoring option next to Steph Curry? No. But are you going to ask him to be that now? I don't see a volume scoring aspect of Brandon Podziemski's game yet that I'm confident in putting him in that role. Andrew Wiggins, he thoroughly regressed last season and the season before that. I mean, we haven't seen a number 2 option level from Andrew Wiggins since the 2022 championship run, and he really wasn't even the second offensive option on that team. Definitely the primary wing defender, but I'm not confident in Andrew Wiggins' number 2 option in the offense for Steve Kerr. And then Buddy Hield, 12 points per game last year. You're going to really ask him at, past the age of 30 to be your number 2 scoring option, really just a catch-and-shoot guy, doesn't really create much off the dribble himself. Anytime Buddy Hield in his career has been asked to be the number 1, 2, or 3 option, those teams have all finished well below 500 in the standings. So I'm not going to sit here and act like Buddy Hield is going to be the savior. I like the value on Buddy Hield, but he's not a number 2 scoring option by any means. I like all those players, but not as a number 2. At the end of the day, Steph does not deserve to be watching the Minnesotas, to be watching the OKCs, to be watching the Dallases of the world go out there and compete at the top of the Western Conference for an NBA championship. He just doesn't deserve it. He's playing at too high of a level right now for that to be okay by the Warriors' standards. So if his roster isn't good enough, there needs to be a move next to Steph Curry, or he's going to really change the Instagram bio to guard for another team. He's going to end up requesting that trade. And listen, I want to make this very clear right now. I do not ever think the Warriors should trade Steph Curry. That has never once crossed my mind. But the inaction and the state of the Warriors roster as it stands right now, that could signal in the future, with Steph just 2 years left on this contract, could want out here in the near future. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Steph would ever request a trade from the Warriors? Not would the Warriors ever trade Steph. Would Steph ever request a trade from the Warriors, or do you think he would sit on his laurels, be fine with riding off into the sunset with Draymond, and be okay with a mediocre to mid roster? Let me know down in the comments by typing T for trade or S for stay for Steph. And that'll do it for today's Golden State Warriors today. For any and all Golden State Warriors updates, listen, the news cycle is dry. We're in the dog days of August. But when Steph Curry changes his Instagram bio, questions are raised, and I have to address them. So you're going to find any and all Golden State Warriors updates right here at the channel, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Hit that sub button and turn your notifications on. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.